Hello, everyone, and welcome to GitLab's 8.7 release webcast. We're super excited to have you all here today. My name is Amara Wigwe, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager at GitLab, and I'll be presenting with Douwe Maan, the Development Lead at GitLab. In this webcast, we'll start off with a quick introduction to GitLab, and then Douwe will highlight some new features with GitLab 8.7. During the demo, please feel free to ask your questions in the Crowdcast window. Crowdcast actually has a really cool upvote functionality, so go ahead and upvote any questions you have so that we can make sure that we're answering the ones that are most interesting to you. After the demo, we'll highlight a cool new feature and then close out with our community news. Just a quick reminder that if you're watching us live, you'll get a follow-up email with the recording and the slides to download. And if you're watching the recording, please sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on our latest news and receive reminders for upcoming webcasts. Before we jump into talking about our latest release, I just want to provide a quick introduction to GitLab. GitLab is an integrated set of tools for the software development lifecycle. It provides Git repository management with code reviews, issue tracking, wikis, and much more. GitLab has built-in continuous integration so that you can test your code and easily see the status of your build right within the application. Then, if your build passes, you can merge it with the click of a button. GitLab has a lot of great features, and we're constantly building more. We release a new version on the 22nd of every month, and pretty soon here, Douwe will take you through our most recent release. So just in case you're not already familiar with our product offering, GitLab has 3 core products to support both big and small teams. So GitLab Community Edition is our free self-hosted version. GitLab Enterprise is our paid self-hosted version that's built to support organizations with more than 100 users. As a result, our Enterprise Edition comes with additional features and support. GitLab.com is our free SaaS version that offers free public and private repositories. And again, since GitLab is an integrated solution to code, test, and deploy together, all of these products have continuous integration built right in. If you're interested in learning more, feel free to visit our website about gitlab.com. So then, without further ado, I'll pass it over to Douwe so he can take us through a demo and Q&A on GitLab's 8.7 highlights.
All right, thank you, Amara. If you are listening to this webcast and you've been using GitLab for a while, you know we release every month on the 22nd, and we try to include a lot of nice new functionality, improvements, big fixes alike. And this month is no different. I will give you a demo of some of these new features in a second, but first I would like to give you an idea of the kind of themes and goals we had set for ourselves for this release. The first of these is increased discoverability. With GitLab 8.7, we have made it easier and quicker to find exactly what you're looking for and to get you better results more quickly. Second, we have built some functionality that makes it easier to use the GitLab issue tracker for product management. And I have one feature in particular that I know you are going to love. Third, since GitLab is first and foremost a collaboration tool, we are always working to improve that collaboration experience. And this release is alike and with everyone else that we have built some new functionality in that area as well. Fourth, we have worked to improve our web-Git workflow a little bit more. If you use GitLab a lot, chances are you are working with Git on the command line and then pushing and pulling to and from GitLab. But you can also work with your repository and your files and your commits and your branches from the web interface. And with 8.7, we have made some changes and improvements there that will make it just a little bit easier to get ahead with Git without needing to dive down to your command line. So without further ado, I would like to demo you some of these features. So I'll switch over to a second screen right now. And you are looking at the project page for this open source project in the Some Company group. And for the moment, let's assume that I am legal counsel for this open source project on this, at this Some Company. An open source project is a project that we have been working on for a little while, but it is not far from done yet. We are in early stages still. We have just released, let's say, version 0.1, and we are currently working hard in master to prepare a first actual release 1.0. And I'm clicking around this project and just making sure that everything is up to our legal, up to the law, and that everything is good there. So I'm clicking through this project, and let's see, I'm reviewing files. And I see two items here. I see a bin folder and a README folder. And since this is an open source project, something stands out to me as missing, which is a license file. If you have an open source project, you need to have a license file to specify to people what they can and cannot do with the source code that you are sharing. And in this case, this file is lacking, and we should have one quickly. I cannot directly make changes to this project, but what I will do is create an issue so that the developer can pick this up and add an appropriate license. So let's go ahead to issues here on the left. As you can see, there are already a couple of issues here, some of them filed by me. I'll just go ahead and create a new one using the big green button on the top right. For title, well, let's go with something simple like add license. Of course, we need to specify the kind of license we're looking for. There are a large number of open source licenses, but I've looked into this in my role as legal counsel, and I have a strong preference for the MIT license, which happens to also be the license that GitLab itself uses. So let's change the title and add that MIT in there. So now let's go ahead and assign some labels just to keep our issue tracker organized. We have legal and we have developer needed, and let's go ahead and submit this issue. Now, like I mentioned, we are still in the early stages of this project, but we have already released a version 0.1, which didn't even have a license file. So we should really make sure that this license file is added as soon as possible. Better yet, let's just say it needs to be added today. With GitLab 8.7, we have introduced a feature that we call due date. As the name suggests, this allows you to set a date on any issue by which date it should be done, or would ideally be done. And you can see this on the sidebar on the right. There is a new due date item here that currently has a value of none. And if we hit the edit button, we will see a little calendar and we can pick a date. In our case, let's say it needs to be done on April 28th, which happens to be today. So now we have an issue that is properly labeled and that is set for April 28th, but still we can't really expect the developer to just stumble upon this by accident and start working on it right away. So let's ping a developer and get him to work on this. Of course, I could write a comment, mention their username, and expect them to see their notification in their inbox, but maybe they're busy or maybe they have a huge inbox backlog, so I'll just go ahead and give them an old-fashioned phone call. I haven't spoken to them in a while, so this is a nice way to catch up. So now for a second, let's assume we are this developer that just got this phone call from legal counsel. And we know that there is, they told us that there is an urgent issue that they would like us to look into because we need to get it into master as quickly as possible. And we also should probably release a 0.1.1 patch release that will add that license file as well, so that even existing users of our project will know how it is licensed. So in changing roles, I'm going to change to a different screen. And now we're looking again at the open source project, but now we are signed in as Douwe, which is me being the developer on this project. So I know that there is an issue that is urgent, so I'm just going to go ahead to the issue tracker here. And I'm seeing 6 issues here. And at this point, for some reason, legal counsel didn't really elaborate on the issue that they wanted to work on. So I need to dig down here and find the one we're looking for. Well, as you can see, 5 of these items have a little calendar icon with a date next to them. And these are all the issues that have a due date. I know that this is urgent, but there are still a couple of urgent ones. But for the moment, let's just sort this list by which issue is due soonest, which issue comes first, which deserves most of my attention. And to do this, we can sort by due soon using the Dropbox here on the top right. The dropdown, I mean, sorry. Right now it says last created, but if I open this up, I can select due soon, and you will see the list refresh in the order of the issues that, of the due dates that are set on the issues. As you can see, there are still a couple that are all set for April 28th. So I want to dive down a little bit deeper. I know it's a legal issue because legal counsel called me. So let's go ahead and filter by the legal label. In order to do this, we can use the label drop-down here that we will open up, and we will see all of our labels listed. So we choose legal, and then we click outside of this box, or we can use the cross to apply that filter. So I'll just use the cross icon here. And now we're seeing just legal-related issues. Still, this is 4, and a couple of these definitely aren't related to me. I can do nothing to apply for a trademark. That's not quite in my skill set. So I'm gonna filter this a little bit more by filtering for developer needed as well. If you've been using GitLab for a while, this gives you pause, because before GitLab 8.7, it used to not be possible to filter by multiple labels at the same time. Since we introduced labels a long time ago, it's been possible to filter by one label, but if you want to see issues that have a number of labels, that have a number of selected labels applied to them at the same time, this is something that is only possible now with GitLab 8.7. So I've selected both legal and developer needed, and I will click outside of this box. And as expected, this leaves me with just one issue, the legal @MIT license issue that needs a developer, the developer being me, to resolve it. So we will go ahead and open that @MIT license issue. Well, the title is clear enough. It doesn't really need a description. So we'll just go ahead and attack this issue, get it done quickly. I could do this locally, but I'm going to do it fully using the web interface. Since we are using the GitLab flow, which we at some company apparently are, we need to create a feature branch, work on this, then create a merge request, assign it to someone for review, and then they will review it and in the end merge it into our target branch, which in our case is master. To create a branch, I could go through the whole branch creation workflow, but since GitLab 8.6, so that's last month, we have this pretty new branch button on the right here, which will automatically create an appropriately named branch for this specific issue. So I'll just go ahead and click that, and then we should be redirected to that new branch in a second. There we are. It says on the top left here that we are indeed working in the context of the 14 @MIT license branch, and now we are going to add that license file. In order to do this, we can use the plus button that we see here and choose the appropriate option, which in our case is new file. Now we want to create a file for the MIT license. Of course, I don't know the MIT license by heart, so I could go ahead and Google it and copy paste it, go about it that way, but with GitLab 8.7 we have a really nice new feature here that will make this a lot easier. And you will see what happens when I write license in this field in all caps, as the this is the common use with open source licenses. If you were paying close attention, you will have seen that a new drop-down appeared on the right, aptly named Choose a License Template. And if I open this up, you will see that it lists a lot of open source license types, including that popular MIT license we had earlier decided on. So I'm now going to click this, and you will see that immediately the file body is replaced by this MIT license with some clever automatic replacement of the year as well as the copyright holder name. In our case, the year, of course, is 2016, and the copyright holder is the group that owns this project, which is some company. So now our license file is as good as ready, and I'm gonna go and commit it. Let's use a slightly more descriptive commit message, and let's use the feature branch that we created just now as a target branch, and let's commit these changes. Now in a second we will be redirected back to this file, and as you can see it has the content we just wrote. Now we want to create a merge request so that our legal counsel can review this and merge it into master, and we can make sure it ships in the upcoming release. So I'm going to hit the create merge request button here on the right. That will automatically appear when you've just made a change or you just push some content to GitLab. I'm going to hit this, and we are at the new merge request page. As you can see, the title and the description have been appropriately filled in by default. And I'm going to go ahead and assign our legal counsel, and I'm going to head and assign the legal label down here. And let's submit this merge request. Now I'm seeing the merge request, and our legal counsel will have got a notification. But there is one other thing to keep in mind. Like I mentioned before, we have already released version 0.1, and we want to release version 0.1.1 as well to include this license. In master, however, which is the target branch of this merge request, we have been working on a lot of new functionality that is not quite done and ready for release yet. So in 0.1.1, we do not want to include all of those changes, but we do want to include this MIT license file. If you're familiar with Git, this will bring to mind the cherry picking feature, which allows you to copy one specific commit from one branch to another without taking with it all of the other changes in that branch. It is basically applying the changes from one specific commit to another branch, regardless of any other changes there. So we want to cherry pick this commit onto a new release for 0.1 after it has been merged into master. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm just going to post a quick note here for legal counsel so they know that I want that to happen as well. Please cherry pick this into the 0.1 stable branch. This is the branch we use to build hotfixes for releases off of. So I'm going to comment this. And at this point, legal counsel have gotten 2 notification emails. And we can switch our roles again and play the legal counsel for a second. So I'm going to switch back to the previous screen. And here we are still viewing that @MIT license issue that I created about 8 minutes ago. As you see, 2 new comments, automatic comments have shown up here, being Douwe Maan started branch 14 @MIT license, and Douwe Maan mentioned in merge request !6. This is very useful for people to keep track of the fact that someone's already working on this. When I refresh the page, which I'm going to do using a shortcut so you won't actually see something, yeah, there you go, you saw the page refresh. You will notice something else. We have a section of related merge requests at the top here, which makes it very easy to see if someone's already working on this merge request, or on this issue rather, even if these automatic comments here have been pushed away by a lot of other discussion. So in this case, we were just assigned to this merge request, so let's go have a look there. Well, this looks good to me, but of course we should review the changes as well. So I'm going to open up the changes tab here, and we will see the MIT license. Of course, being legal counsel, I should really just read every word of this to make sure nothing was added by our developer. But in this case, I'm going to take his word for this being accurate, and I'm going to go ahead and accept this merge request. Since we won't need this feature branch anymore, I will also check this remove source branch checkbox, and I will hit accept merge request. And in a second, you should see the page refresh with the merged status. And I can see that happening exactly. So now I noticed that comment that our developer placed a minute ago. Please cherry pick this into the 0.1 stable branch. Before GitLab 8.7, in order to do this, you would have needed to go onto your local machine. You would have needed to pull master. You would have needed to manually run the git cherry pick command on the 0.1 stable branch, and then push the 0.1 stable branch back to the GitLab instance. But with GitLab 8.7, we have a new cherry pick button that you can see here next to the merge status and next to the revert button, which we added a few releases ago. And if I click this cherry pick button, I will be presented with a modal where I can pick what branch I want to cherry pick this commit into. In our case, this will be the 0.1 stable branch that we referred to just now, which we will use to build that 0.1.1 hotfix. We do not want to start a new merge request at this point, since I already reviewed these changes, and we can save some time ourselves and our developers by just picking it into the branch immediately. So I'll go ahead and hit the cherry pick button here, and after a couple of seconds, we should see the page refresh, and a notice appears at the top. The merge request has been successfully cherry picked. So now we can quickly go and cut a new release for that. If we go to commits from the left, and we go to the tags window here, let's just verify that the commit was actually added onto that branch. If we go back to the branches tab here, you will see that the last commit in 0.1 stable was that merge branch 14 @MIT license, and it was for master as well. But as I mentioned, none of the other new changes to master actually made it into 0.1 stable as we expected. So now let's copy this branch name and go to the tags page and create a new tag, v 0.1.1, based on that branch, and create that tag. This is all stuff that has been possible in GitLab for a while, but I thought it would be nice to show you the entire story, the entire flow of this story that I'm telling you, which includes cutting this release. So now our legal counsel is happy, but he still is pretty glad actually that our developer had such a quick turnaround. They finished the issue within 15 minutes of it being filed by legal counsel. So let's have a quick look at that merge request again. Let's open it up and let's thank our developer. So in the comment fields, we will write thanks, followed by an @ because we want to mention someone. And now I'm going to interrupt and tell you about something cool that I'm seeing that you probably didn't notice. In this list of autocomplete options, you can see that Douwe, being the developer's name, being my name, is at the very top. And if you recall from GitLab 8.6 and earlier versions, you will know that the ordering of this list used to be strictly alphabetical, which is not always the best option because GitLab very well knows who is most relevant to this discussion and who you are most likely to mention at this point. And with GitLab 8.7, we have applied a little bit smarter sorting to this list so that the right person will always be at the top, being the people who are actually in this thread, saving you a couple of keystrokes, saving you some frustration about GitLab not doing something it pretty well damn should. So now we have thanked Douwe, and I will hit the return key, and I will insert Douwe. We'll hit the comment button, and we are done. Legal counsel found an issue. Our developer fixed it. Our developer fixed it within 15 minutes even. Our legal counsel merged it, cherry-picked it into the new release. And these are just some of the this is made possible by some of the new features that we have in GitLab 8.7. So this being the end of the story, I'm going to switch back to the slideshow. And I'm going to do a quick recap of what it is that we just saw. First, we had a look at due dates for issues. This will be you will be very glad to see this if you use GitLab extensively for project management, if you use the issue tracker to keep track of different kinds of tasks than just, bugs and that kind of thing. Due dates for issues and sorting by due date is very, very useful for those kind of workflows. Second, we are now with GitLab 8.7 able to filter by multiple labels. We were before able to filter by a single label, but now we can be more specific about the exact kind of issue we're looking for or the exact kind of merge request we're looking for by filtering for multiple labels at the same time. For example, with GitLab, a lot of our issues have 3 or 4 labels applied to them that will refer to the kind of issue or the kind of team that should work on it, that kind of thing. And it really helps to be able to filter on multiple of these at the same time. Third, we saw the ability to create a file based on a template. In this first iteration, this is just for license files, but we have plans to apply the same mechanism for different kind of files, for example, gitignore and our GitLab CI YAML configuration file, and many others that might be language or project specific, where files are often not written from scratch, but follow a template. So expect to see some more improvements in this area in upcoming releases of GitLab. Then fourth, I showed you the possibility to cherry pick a commit right from the web interface. This works for both merge requests and regular commits, and it can save a lot of time when this is part of your workflow and you don't necessarily want to go through your command line every time. And then fifth, a pretty small improvement, but one that you will definitely notice in your day-to-day use of GitLab, which makes it just that much easier to mention the right people in your discussions. Of course, these 5 are not the only new features in 8.7, and I encourage you to check out the blog post as well as the changelog if you are interested in every single change. But I'm also going to quickly show a couple of these in a minute. But first, I would like to ask you for any questions, and I would be glad to answer them. So, Amara, did any questions show up yet?
No, so I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A upvoting or in the chat, but I know, Douwe, when I heard that we were doing due dates for issues, one of the questions that I had was, how do due dates differ from milestones? So maybe you can explain that for our audience, and then that'll give people more time to think about any potential questions they have.
Yeah, for sure. So milestones have a due date optionally, and an issue can be assigned to a specific milestone, and all issues from a milestone are expected to be finished by that date. But that doesn't give you much option in specifying that one issue should be done before that general milestone due date. So the due dates for issues and milestones are separate at this point. The sorting list only takes into account the due date for the individual issue, not the milestone, because the due date sorting, the goal there is to find those issues you should really work on right now, not just stuff that we want done over the next month or something like that. They are individual features, they are related. There might be some more room for hooking those up later. But right now they serve a slightly different purpose, but they both make the issue tracker workflow just that more powerful. I hope that answers your question, Amara.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks, Douwe. So we don't have any questions that have come in yet, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat or offer them in the Q&A so that they can be upvoted, and we'll do our best to answer them in the webcast. If not, we'll follow up with an answer. I think, Douwe, we can go ahead and move on to some of the exciting features that we didn't demo, but also came out in this release.
Yes, thank you. So the first of these I would like to point out is location-aware search. Of course, you've been able to search in GitLab for ages, And now we have made search a little bit smarter. If you are inside a project and you see and look at the search bar in the top right, you will see that it has this project marker on the left. And as long as this marker is there, anything you type into the search field will search just in the context of that specific project. But if you hit the backspace key once, this project label will disappear, and your search will instead apply to the global GitLab instance. So this will make it just a little bit easier to search in the context that you meant to be searching in. Second, we have more options for the default dashboard. The dashboard is the page you will land on in GitLab if you just signed in and you were not in a specific project yet. This is the page that currently lists a list of all of your projects by default, but you can change the default dashboard in your profile settings on the appearances page. And one notable mention here is the new option, which is your to-dos. We introduced the to-dos feature a couple of releases ago, and it has quickly grown to be a crowd favorite in that it allows you to be that much more proactive and that much more aware of what you should be focusing on and working on today. So you can now configure GitLab 8.7 to show this to you by default when you open up your GitLab in the morning. Third, I would like to point out that date tools now show the date tooltips, now show the date and the time in your own time zone. They used to only show in UTC, which was fine for some portion of the UK, but which didn't work very well for anyone else over the world, including me, since I'm in GMT +2. Now these times will show in the time zone that you expect them to be, which is just a little bit more easy to know how long ago something actually happened. The last one that I would like to display to you with a screenshot is build status notifications. If you use GitLab CI or a similar CI system that integrates with GitLab, any merge request will have a build status. It will start off as running when you just create a merge request, and then it will move to either success or failure, based, of course, on the script that you had inside the build, and likely based on the changes in that merge request. Now we will use the notifications feature of your browser to show you a pop-up notification when the build status changes, so that you know that when it moves to failed, you should probably have a look into why that happens, and you should probably see if you can fix it. And if it is successful, you know you can then assign the merge request to someone, or just go ahead and merge it yourself if that's how your workflow works. So this makes it a little bit easier to know what's up with your merge request, instead of having to check it manually every couple of minutes. I have a couple of other things that I would like to quickly mention. They don't have pretty screenshots, but they are very much notable. The first of these is that GitLab 8.7 has a more complete GitHub importer. We know that a lot of people want to move their project from GitHub to GitLab. One of the reasons that there has been a spike in it over the last few weeks is because of GitLab Pages, which is a little bit more powerful than GitHub Pages. We have been able to import projects from GitHub for a while. With GitLab 8.7, it got a little bit more powerful. We are copying a little bit more stuff from GitHub, just to make it as easy as possible for you to move to GitLab without having to, rebuild your issues and rebuild your flow. Second, there are a couple of interesting new keyboard shortcuts. The first of these allows you to very quickly start editing an issue or a merge request. If you're viewing an issue and you hit the E key, the edit page will automatically be opened for you, and you can quickly change the title or the description or those kind of things. Second, another screenshot that also applies to editing is if you are focused on the comment text area on the bottom of an issue or merge request page, and you realize that the comment that you just created a second ago actually had a typo, you can now use the up arrow key inside that comment field, which will automatically drop you into the edit window for the comment you just created. So if you create a comment, you recognize you made a typo, you can just hit the up arrow, make the change, and then hit Command Enter or Return or Control Enter to immediately hands-free fix that comment you just made. And third, which is a feature that I am especially happy with, is better copying from diffs. If you have ever looked at a commit diff or the changes of a merge request, and you've tried to copy some of the text in there, you will have noticed that it also copied the line number as well as the plus or minus signs that indicated whether that line was removed or added. Those will be copied along with the actual text of the code you're trying to copy. With GitLab 8.7, we have fixed that. It's a minor change, but I know that I'm really excited to see that work the way I had expected it. And that's all for today. I wanted to tell you in terms of new GitLab functionality. Like I mentioned, check out the blog post if you're interested in more. Check out the changelog if you want to know about every individual's change. And at this point, I'm happy to take questions about any of the features I've covered or any of those I haven't. Anything in GitLab 8.7 is fair game. Are there any questions at this point, Amara?
Sorry about that. But yeah, no, I was just looking out to see if there were any questions as well, and I haven't seen any come through.
I'm getting slightly worried that people are actually not able to comment, or that no one is actually watching this webcast.
Well,
because I know from previous webcasts that there were a lot of people commenting.
Well, people were in the chat earlier. Bartos just commented saying it looks great. So thanks for the feedback, everyone. Again, if you do have questions, definitely feel free to put them in the chat. Now everyone's reacting to your comment that no one's here.
Well, I'm glad to hear that people are here. I will take it as a good sign that there are no questions about stuff I forgot to explain. But otherwise, the webcast is not over yet. My demo is over, but keep posting those questions, and I'll be glad to answer them at any point during this webcast. For the moment, I think we are going back to you, Amara.
Yes, thanks, Douwe. I think it's always great to see features and context of how they're going to be used in everyone's day-to-day. So definitely thank you for taking us through a demo and providing that story.
Of course, I very much enjoy it.
So in each release webcast, we do our best to choose an exciting feature to highlight. This time around, it just happened to be a feature that just released in GitLab 8.7. So we'd like to highlight an improvement that we've made to remote mirroring. So before GitLab 8.7, you already had the ability to mirror an external repository to your GitLab instance. Now with GitLab 8.7, you can push updates to a remote repository. This means that you can use GitLab to build your projects while still maintaining an active mirror in another place. We think an interesting use case for this would be, let's say you're working on a large open source project and you want to manage your own GitLab instance, but you still want to ensure that you have a public-facing copy available for people to contribute. With this new remote mirroring feature, you could do everything in GitLab and just have a mirror to gitlab.com, GitHub, or any other Git hosting service. We feel like a scenario like this is particularly common in large teams or larger companies who prefer to maintain their own instance. So this feature is available in our Enterprise Edition, but of course, since gitlab.com, our SaaS product, runs most of GitLab Enterprise Edition, it's also available on gitlab.com. So definitely go and try it out and offer any feedback that you have. Okay, now for some community news. So we'd like to take a second to congratulate Connor Shea. He's this month's MVP. Connor's contributions really exemplify our core belief that everyone can contribute. In this release, Connor was extremely active and very excited contributor. He was creating a lot of issues, sharing his feedback, and offering a number of suggested improvements. Connor's one of over 1,000 people who contribute to GitLab. All of our contributors are extremely crucial to everything that we do here. So we just want to take a second to thank Connor and thank all of our contributors. Okay, and then finally, we'd like to invite you all to join us on our next webcast, which will be Thursday, May 14th, and we will be talking about advanced GitLab workflow. So we delivered an introductory session back in mid-March, so you can check that out on our YouTube channel, and then go ahead and register with the link provided in these slides. And with that, this is the end of our webcast. I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen in. As always, if you have any questions, definitely let us know. Otherwise, we'll be sharing the recording and the slides with everyone over email, and they'll also be posted to our blog. Thanks again for joining, and we look forward to seeing you all on future webcasts.
All right. Did any questions happen to come in during these last few minutes?
None that I can see. People are saying that they'll see us on May 14th.
Okay, well, awesome. Of course, like Amara mentioned, if you end up having any questions, talk to us on Twitter, talk to us on our gitlab.com project, or any other channel that we might use. We are always looking for your feedback, and we are always looking to work with you to make GitLab as good as it can be. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thanks, everyone.